Hi guys. I am making this video for like the fourth time or something now. Because I wanted to put it out there, what I believe, what I'm into. I know I've made some comments on some videos and you've probably wondered. Um, I'm pretty open to a lot of things, but anyway, my main thing is I just wanted to put it out there because, my good friend M22 Frogger has talked about what he believes. And, I've been wanting to talk about what I believe ever since then because, I don't even think he really knows what I'm into right now. But I know that he and I would definitely be able to have some pretty deep conversations about stuff. Um, anyways, so I just wanted to put it out there and how I'm going to say this. Okay, so I originally made videos that talk about how I got to this point, and they're great and they're all engrossing and they actually explain it very well. But I'm sure you don't really want to sit there for like an hour and listen to me talk about it. So if anybody has any questions once I'm done here about how I got to this point, say if you're a Christian or whatever, and you want to get to where I am now, then that's fine. Or if you just are concerned as a Christian and you don't understand how this could have happened, then yes, you can ask me that too. I'll be happy to talk to anybody about it. Um, I used to actually go into Christian chat rooms and discuss things that were a little bit against the norm when it came to Christianity, but I would never go away from the Bible. It would just be more of like trying to teach people certain things that I knew. And anyway, so basically, I still consider myself a Christian to a degree. I have a foundation of Christianity. That's what I call it, a foundation. And it's something that is important when you are, searching for things that are deeper in understanding to just the elementary teachings of any faith, is to have a firm foundation. And it keeps you, sound, and it keeps you strong in some ways. You have that to fall back on, and you absolutely need it. You absolutely need it. I will never disagree with that idea that you absolutely need a firm foundation. Anyway, so Christianity is my firm foundation, and I've had it for many years. And I'm not like many other Christians, especially considering the fact that I do not go to church. I refuse to go to church. And part of the reason I refuse to go to church is because of the fact that they do not teach you anything other than the elementary teachings. And I've been to many churches, and that's all you get. So I refuse to do it. And I don't really feel like being judged. I don't really feel like sitting there and having people talk to me about how, oh, you should do this and you should do this. No, I shouldn't do anything. All I should do is what I need to do for my personal spiritual journey, not what everybody else is doing. So that's what I believe. Anyways, you can tell that I really don't like the whole idea of going to church at all whatsoever. But I consider myself a Christian just because, like I say, I have the firm foundation of certain teachings that I believe to be essential. Put it that way. Okay. So another thing that I am into is metaphysics. I would not call myself a metaphysician. I would not call myself a metaphysicist because I really don't understand a lot of things about physics. The philosophies, though, I like the philosophies of metaphysics. I don't understand a lot of the actual equations in physics and stuff like that. But I know that a lot of people do, and I find them intriguing, but I don't really get them that much. But like I say, the philosophies, they're what attract me big time to metaphysics, and eventually I'm going to try and really delve into the actual equations and try and understand them a little bit better. But at this point, I'm not really into that. That's not the part that gives me the passion that I have. It's the philosophy. Anyway, so I thought because I'm going to bring it up, I might as well Wikipedia it and you know give you an idea of what I'm talking about here, if you don't already know what metaphysics is. So in just a second, I will bring it up. I had it before, but then I took it off. So just a sec here. Okay, metaphysics. is a traditional branch of philosophy concerned with explaining the fundamental nature of being and the world that encompasses it, although the term is not easily defined. And that's how I feel. Traditionally, metaphysics attempts to answer two basic questions in the broadest possible terms. What is ultimately there, and what is it like? A person who studies metaphysics is called a metaphysicist or a metaphysician. The metaphysician attempts to clarify the fundamental notions by which people understand the world. Examples: existence, objects and their properties, space and time, cause and effect, and possibility. A central branch of metaphysics is ontology, the investigation into the basic categories of being and how they relate to each other. Another central branch of metaphysics is cosmology, the study of the origin, if it has had one, fundamental structure, nature, and dynamics of the universe. Prior to the modern history of science, science questions were addressed as a part of metaphysics known as natural philosophy. Originally, the term science, Latin scientia, simply meant knowledge. The scientific method, however, transformed natural philosophy into an empirical activity deriving from experiment, unlike the rest of philosophy. By the end of the 18th century, it had begun to be called science to distinguish it from philosophy. Thereafter, metaphysics denoted philosophical inquiry of a non-empirical character into the nature of existence. Some philosophers of science, such as the neo-positivists, say that natural science rejects the study of metaphysics, while other philosophers of science strongly disagree. Okay, so I'm kind of me in the sense of here of what I believe. Metaphysics does have a strong foundation in the sense of physics as well, even though it's trying to say there that it doesn't in a way, but it does. And like I say, the philosophies, the main philosophies, are what have intrigued me, and I am definitely living that path. That is part of what spurs me on to, greater enlightenment, basically, and understanding, you know, understanding life and the meaning of life, I guess, and the whole purpose of you know, what we're here for, I guess you could say. I haven't come up with any great answers to that question yet, but I just know that there is more to what we're doing in this life than what we're doing. And the way society is run is completely messed up. And I mean, everybody knows this. We can all feel how screwed up it is. Everybody talks about it. That's why there are conspiracy theories, because we're trying to figure it out. Why is it the way it is? It's because we know that there is something fundamentally wrong with society. And the fundamental wrong thing, and we all know what it is, we just don't want to talk about it, is that we are not living in a spiritual way the way we should be. We're living by just pure primal ego. That's all we live by mainly in society. All we're doing is trying to satisfy ourselves in a way with material things. And we don't look at the consequences of those actions. We don't look at what it's going to do to our bodies. We don't look at what it's going to do to us spiritually. We don't look at any of the consequence. And, that's part of the reason Christianity even is here today and why it is so prevalent is because it teaches people to look at the consequences of their actions. And if nothing else, it's good for that. Because by all means, we need to start looking at what we're doing and the consequences thereof. Because we are destroying the earth with our greed and our stupidity. We're destroying the earth because we're not trying to essentially understand ourselves as human beings. We're not trying to look at the deeper things. We're only looking at the elementary things in life and never getting any deeper. We need to go deeper, people. This is what I've been trying to do for years now. Because when I became a Christian, I went to church and stuff, and I loved it. I loved learning new things. For me, it was new. And then I just kind of stopped learning, and I stopped growing, and I thought something's wrong here. What am I doing wrong? And it wasn't all me. It's because the church itself, and leaders within the church, pretty much every church, are given these specific things that they're to teach people, and they don't go any deeper than what they are. And to them, it seems pretty deep and it seems pretty understanding, but there are key things missing. And the key things that are missing are being open to what science has to teach, being open to metaphysics, being open to understanding that there is more to understanding the teachings of Christ than what we think there are. And when we close ourselves off to these other possibilities, because we're afraid of what could happen if we do that, if we don't close ourselves off, then we literally become cocooned within our own doctrinal crap. And we cannot see outside of that cocoon. We refuse to see outside of it. You think you're growing in that cocoon, but you're not. The only way to get out of the cocoon is to break free of it. And to break free of it, you have to literally break free of it. And that's what I did. Anyway, I could go into as to how that happened for me and stuff, but I'm not going to do that in this video. Right now, I'm just going to basically say that what got me into metaphysics was actually my boyfriend. When I first met him, I actually met him on Facebook. And, I mean, that was just pure luck as far as I'm concerned because, you know, really, a friend of mine had met him and she said, oh, this guy's really great. You should talk to him. He's really cool. He's a friend of mine. And I was like, I looked at his picture and I saw the things that he was into. Like, I didn't even really know he was into metaphysics that much. I just saw certain things that he claimed on his Facebook that he was into at the time. And I was like, holy crap, this guy, I need to know this guy. There's something about him that I need to know. And I mean, I had been searching for somebody for years. Literally, I was praying for years for somebody like him. You know, I needed somebody like him to come into my life, and I'd asked and prayed and begged and whatever I had to do to find this person. And I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that he had answers to questions that I could never seem to find the answers for. And they're here now. So, you know, despite all the things that we have conflicts about, this is the one thing that keeps us strong, is because we know that there are certain things that are truth. We know that if we are open to each other, then we can learn and grow from each other and through our relationship. And it can be a positive thing if we so choose. And, you know, it's been really a blessing in a way. Because we're not, and this is the thing about every relationship that most people have, right? We're taught to just have these, you know, as children, we're taught that relationships are supposed to be a certain way. You know, like there's a certain structure, and it's not right. The things that we're taught are completely false. I'm not really sure where we're taught that. I think it's maybe just to keep society in a kind of dependent situation. And because if you are taught how to be independent away from things that would keep you down, basically, it would keep you in need of things, in need of people, in need of, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying we don't need people even if we're dependent, or independent, I should say, but we'd need people in a different way. Not in a way that we're desperate to have people around us, but in a way that, you know, just for fellowship, in the sense of, you know, being intellectual with one another, being spiritual with one another, and doing it in an enlightening way that will be a positive impact on society rather than a negative impact. And, you know, this is what I've been trying to do now for the last, like, while, I guess. And, you know, learning how to be more assertive is a way to do it, is a way to connect with more people in a more positive way, in a more enlightening way. And getting your opinions across, getting your ideas across in a way that is, you know, not that communicating these things in a way that isn't demeaning to others actually gets it across in a way that people will receive it better and they will understand it better to some degree. So, you know, yeah. So part of how I got into this, like I say, was from my boyfriend, that the whole metaphysics part of it. And I've been trying to teach him some things about Christianity that he didn't know. See, he's Catholic. He was raised Catholic and stuff, and there's a lot of things that he just doesn't know about Christianity. And so I will bring up things, and he brings things up for me too that question things for me. And I'm utterly grateful for that, because It's these things, it's these little these talks that we have on occasion that are so utterly fulfilling that, you know, it doesn't matter all the other shit that goes on. Like, you know, we could have these petty little fights about these stupid little things, but when we have these deep discussions, it is so fulfilling to me that it's like I don't care about all the other stuff. It's like that I just have this profound love for him because we're able to talk about these things so deeply and so openly and calmly and so, you know, like assertively with each other. It's not, you know, we are able to do back and forth. We're able to talk about some pretty deep shit without it, you know, causing any conflict because we're so open to wanting the truth within each other and hearing it. And we're so open to learning the truth through, you know, not just traditional sources. And I think that's the cool thing about our relationship. And I've never had that with anyone else before. So it's just like, this is exactly what I was looking for. I didn't, you know, there's always some sort of negative that comes with the positive, though. There's always yin yang, you know what I mean, or yin yang, or whatever you call it. But you know, the positive can encompass, the positive can be greater, and the negative doesn't have to be so damn negative. You know what I mean? Like, you just, it's all in how you look at it. It's all in how you perceive your situation. And if you allow yourself to be overly sensitive about the things that are not really important, then, or you take it on yourself as an insecurity, then you're just basically doing it to yourself. Just try and understand, you know, where the other person is coming from instead of letting it be an insecurity to you. And you'll find that it helps a lot more to communicate properly and to understand each other and to be more open with each other. Anyways, okay, so I'm not saying I have the perfect relationship. I'm just saying to me, it's one of the most fulfilling relationships I've ever had in my life, and I'm really happy to be in it. Even though there have been times where I was just like, oh my god, you know, these little battles we're having really suck. But you know, it's only because I was dealing with things or trying to deal with things on my own and not being open with him about them, and he didn't really understand what was going on, so he was just, you know, trying to help me and not knowing how to help me, and it was frustrating for him too. So yeah, like, I'm not saying he's perfect or anything, but we both have our roles to play, just like anybody else in any relationship. We both have our, like, you all have your, you know, roles to play and how you are battling things with each other. And you really don't need to be battling things if you're just being open with each other about how you're feeling and about what's really going on. And if you're open within yourself about how you're feeling and what's going on, then things should be fine. But I mean, obviously, not every relationship is a good relationship. So if you're in a really bad relationship, like it's really bad, there's some bad things going on, you need to get out of it. And if you don't know how to get out of it, then find help. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, that's not the point of my video here. My point is talking about metaphysics and talking about what I'm into and stuff. Anyway, so one of the things that really prompted me to get into this stuff too was I've been looking to have my mind or my whole idea of things enlightened, and I'm not afraid to look at these things. I'm not afraid to understand. I actually bought this book recently, within the last year and a half. It was called Misquoting Jesus. And I was just like, whoa, no, I know I have to read it. I have to read it. And I did. I read it. Like, not the whole thing, obviously, because I'm really bad at reading books. But I read some pretty important things in the book. And I mean, I'd still read it now. I'm not against reading it. It's just I haven't had time. But it's a pretty interesting book. And it was one other thing that just opened my eyes. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I mean, it's basically explaining why certain things were probably misquoted, mistranslated, and why we have religions that are built around these things that shouldn't be. And, you know, I get it. I totally get it. But I still have a firm foundation in things that Jesus taught specifically. And I don't look at it the same way that specific book might look at it, in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at it, you know, Jesus in the sense of, what was he trying to say? And I look at the New Testament as, what were the apostles trying to say to these people? And, you know, what was it all about? anyway, that's kind of where I go. I don't just look at it like, from an ignorant perspective. And no offense to most Christians, but you don't know what you're talking about, and you don't really know what you're doing because you've never done the research. So if you don't know the history, you don't know who the people were, you don't know what was happening, then how can you fully understand what the apostles were trying to tell these people and why? So don't sit there and quote some scripture to me and tell me that, oh, this is what God was trying to tell you specifically. No, that's not how it is. That's not what the Bible is for. And people just do not understand that. But that's fine, whatever. That's how the churches run today, and that's why I don't like them. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot I don't like about the church today. There's a lot I don't like about it. Anyway, it's definitely got away from, the whole purpose of, what the church was meant to be. But that's fine, whatever. I'm not going to get into it too much more than that, but that's why I don't go to church. Anyways, one of the things that me and my boyfriend started to do that really opened my mind was we started watching these shows on the History Channel. And I think there's another channel too. I can't remember what it is. It's a scientific one, like Discovery or something. Anyway, and they were shows that were about space and the possibilities of how the universe was created. And at the time that we were watching these videos, I was still pretty stuck in my traditional ideas of how the Earth was created and stuff. And I didn't like them at first. But then I thought, you know what? These ideas, these theories on how life was created really don't change my idea or my understanding of the fact that I felt that God could still have created it. It's all about our interpretation of what the Bible is saying, really. And this whole thing about, that the earth was created in 6,000 years is on bullshit. That's a complete silliness. That's complete silliness, because just because in the New Testament it talks about how a day is as 1,000 years to God and 1,000 years is as a day, does not mean we're supposed to be taking that literally. Now, in metaphysics, what I've gotten from this is that this is just what I've kind of come to the conclusion of, is that it's not that literally a day is as 1,000 years. What they were trying to tell these people in a really simple way is that God is not exposed to linear time like we are. God is not, he does not have to conform to linear time. And I only say he because that's just how we know God, in the sense of how we know God. God is a he, not that he necessarily is a he. It's just the easiest thing for me to say. So I'm copping out, but whatever. Anyway, so God is not, doesn't have to conform to linear time whatsoever. So it's just basically they were trying to explain to these people that to God, a day is like 1,000 years, because they didn't know how else to put it. And even I don't know how else to put it, other than that God is not limited to time. He's not part of linear time in the same sense that we are. He can go anywhere he wants in time. He created time. You know what I mean? Like, if you say you created something, you can go, like, say you create a computer program, and it's based on linear time. You can go anywhere you want within that program because you created it. You programmed it. You did it. You made that thing. You can change the code in it anytime you want. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. Like, you have the power to do that because you created it. So this is the point I'm trying to make about God, that he does not have to conform to linear time, because he is not living within that the confinement of it. He's not living on Earth. He's not living anywhere that we can grasp him. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to understand that a little deeper, I haven't personally tried this stuff because I don't think I ever would. But I do look into the pineal gland and how to naturally open the pineal gland in order to receive that and have deeper dreams. But there are people that have tried something called DMT. And it actually is a naturally occurring chemical in the brain. Specifically, I think it's in the pineal gland. I think the pineal gland is what causes it. Don't quote me on that, but I know the pineal gland has something to do with it. Anyways, and basically it helps you to dream. Your brain releases this DMT at night while you're dreaming, and that's why you have vivid dreams if you do have vivid dreams. And I have very vivid dreams. I always have. I've always been able to. So some people have actually tried taking synthetic DMT, and they've had some pretty amazing visions while they were experiencing that. And I'm under the great assumption, and I say it's a great assumption because it feels right to me, that things that they have experienced are probably similar to how it would feel to be where God is, where there is no linear time. So what I encourage you all to do, if you really want to look into this and you really want to understand what I'm talking about, is just look into the DMT experiences on YouTube, because there are lots of videos about it. If you want, I can always put a couple in the description below. Yeah, I could do that for you. Other than that, this is your spiritual journey. Anything that you have questions about, I will definitely try and answer for you from my own spiritual journey, but I can't find the answers for you. You have to do it for yourself. And, I would be glad to try and answer any questions that I can, but as I say, I am not here to be anybody's guide, spiritual guide, or anything like that. I just have gone through certain things, and I've come to conclusions for myself. And I'm nowhere near finding the full conclusion of what I've nowhere near finding all the answers to things that I want to find the answers to. And I think that it would be, if I was, I think that'd be pretty arrogant to think that. So I know that there's more answers out there, and I am just I'm happy to be able to find at least some that are suitable right now. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be more that overshadow those answers that I've found, because I'm constantly growing, and this is what we should all be doing, is constantly growing. And I'm constantly opening myself up to newer things that I just said I would never do. But because I'm able to do it in a way that does not make me conform to that, you know what I mean? Like, to take positive things that are things that, like, say Reiki. I don't necessarily agree with how they do Reiki. I don't necessarily like with how they do it, in the sense of you have to envision this symbol, you have to envision that symbol. I don't want that. That's not who I am. That I don't want to have to conform to that just so I can do Reiki. You know what I mean? I have my own form of Reiki. And basically Reiki is all about intention, and all about chakras, and all about, meditation as well. So meditation, intention, chakras. It's not that hard, really. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's all just about knowing where to put your hands, knowing what your intentions should be. And I also do this other thing while I'm doing that, and it's called guided imagery. So for me, it's like I'm incorporating a couple different things at the same time. So, that's what I do. I mean, they do guided imagery in a sense with it too, but not the same way. They just see symbols. They don't actually see things. You know what I mean? So I've kind of made it my own. And there's no reason you can't do that, as long as you have the right intention and you're doing it for the right reasons. If you're doing something for the wrong reasons, for some sort of egoic thing, then don't do it. It's not about that. You know what I mean? So I'm just telling you what I do, because that way you know. I'm not trying to make some new religion or anything like that. That's not the point. The point is, metaphysics isn't about religion in the sense of creating some new religion surrounding it. It's not about that. It's being open to all things. And the point is that that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be open to the truth wherever it comes from. And yeah, there are still some things that I will never want to be a part of, because they're completely toxic, and they're completely negative, and they're completely full of ego, and I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I will never have anything to do with them as long as I can stand true to my foundation. I will stay away from those specific things, and that's fine for me. But other people will be like, well, you should really be open to all things. And I'm like, and I'll still say, there are certain things that I'm never going to be open to, because I don't want to have toxic things in my life. So, yeah, sorry, but I'm not going to just accept every idea from every religion just because I'm into metaphysics and it says I should be open to everything. You know what I mean? Like I'm open to everything positive. I'm open to everything that is going to have a positive effect on society, on myself, so I can be a better, so I can better be a part of society and understand what's, going on in society. And, that's about it. But anyway, so now you know what I believe, now you know what I'm into. I could go on and on and on about it. As you can well see, it's been a half an hour now. But yeah. So if you have any questions for me, don't hesitate to ask me. I will be glad to try and answer them for you, or to try and lead you somewhere that will give you answers that I can't. So, anyways, if you are from Canada, have a good Thanksgiving weekend, and if you're from the United States, just have a great weekend. Anyways, I really enjoyed making this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it.